History is an encrypted palimpsest, where the names of the victors are written in gold ink, while the names of the vanquished have been mercilessly erased by time. But Martin Frobisher is an anomaly in this system. A man who did not blaze trails, did not bring back riches, and twice led his nation into a dead end, has, paradoxically, remained in eternity. His life was not a straight line of triumph, but a complex labyrinth of mistakes that ultimately led him to the foot of the throne. In the rigid hierarchy of 16th century England, Frobisher was an outsider. In a world where titles and lands were distributed by birthright, he had nothing but a fierce will. His early years were a tale of survival, privateering, captivity, prison walls, and an endless search for his big break. For those like him, suffocating in the confines of European intrigue, there was only one way out: the ocean. A vast expanse where social masks were washed away by salt water, and personal valor meant more than a coat of arms on a signet ring. In 1576, Frobisher staked everything on a single venture: the Northwest Passage. It was not merely a geographical prize, but the Tudors' holy grail, the key to Asia's riches, bypassing Spanish cannons. But the Arctic greeted him not with spices, but with silence. Upon reaching the shores of Baffin Island, Frobisher encountered a world devoid of logic. Here, compasses went haywire, and ice jams turned the sea into a trap. He discovered the bay named after him, but instead of a strait to China, he found an ice wall. It was here that fate set the most treacherous trap for him: a piece of black rock. What followed became one of the most massive collective delusions in the history of the Navy. Geographical curiosity instantly gave way to a gold rush. The hypothesis about gold, backed by the alchemists' dubious analyses, became dogma. Frobisher's subsequent expeditions were no longer scientific. They were caravans in search of loot. Hundreds of workers, tons of equipment, thousands of tons of ore extracted from the permafrost. It was the first economic bubble in English history, inflated in the icy deserts of the north. Huge smelting furnaces were built specifically for this shipment. Months of anticipation gave way to utter horror. The black rock turned out to be pyrite, fool's gold. It contained not a single gram of precious metal. The disaster was total. Investors went bankrupt. Frobisher was accused of fraud, and the gold ore, on which the hopes of an entire nation had rested, was deemed worthless construction debris. Ironically, these tons of rock did not disappear. They were used to pave roads in London and Kent. For decades, thousands of city dwellers walked over the ruins of a great dream, literally trampling the unfulfilled grandeur of the empire into the mud. But fate had a second act in store for Frobisher. In 1588, when the horizon darkened with the sails of the Invincible Armada, England needed not geologists, but warriors. Frobisher, whose authority had been undermined by the Arctic fiasco, returned to his true element. Aboard his ship of the line, he demonstrated what he had been unable to find in the ice: iron discipline and strategic genius. In the crucible of naval battles, his past mistakes were burned away, leaving only the pure steel of military experience. The knighthood he received from the Queen's hands became an act of final redemption. His final days in 1594 lacked the grandeur of ancient legends. A wound sustained during the siege of the Spanish fort of Crozon, a botched operation, an infection, Frobisher did not depart in a blaze of glory, but in the agony of a hospital ward. He did not redraw the map of the world or fill the treasury with gold, but he proved something more important. In the history of great empires, defeat is sometimes merely a necessary prelude to a decisive victory. His name remains on maps not as a symbol of discovery, but as a monument to human perseverance, which is capable of transforming even fool's gold into true greatness.